Indeed, Chris. Right, so we'll move on to our next topic.
Yeah.
Microsoft's our big focus, and particularly the Xbox One X. I'll let you take the beginning of this, Chris.
Sure, dude. So at this UZ3, Microsoft came out and they made a pretty big announcement. Well, something that we all knew was coming, but they basically came out and they were like, here it is, Project Scorpio. It's called Xbox One X. And here is all this technical detail. And then they proceeded to give us a flood of information on, what it has and, what it does and what it's capable of doing. And it was all very impressive. If I recall correctly, what is it? They were like, yeah, teraflops all over the place. And they kept going on and on about like all the technicalities of it, and then they proceeded to show us examples, and you're like, oh, I guess that is 4K. And then at the end, they drop the price, and they're like $499 US. And dude, basically in a nutshell, I kind of rambled there a bit, but in a nutshell, they basically
Nice.
were like, here, Project Scorpio's Xbox One X costs $500. This is what it could do. Blah. And dude, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm actually very mixed about Xbox One X and the price point itself, because the price point is so odd. Because do I think it's a perfect price point from a technical side? Well, yeah. I mean, dude, this thing has 2.3 gigahertz CPU. It has 6 teraflops of graphical computing performance, 12 gigabytes of RAM, which 9 gigs are allotted to games. I mean, this thing is like a beast. It's very, very, very powerful. There's a comparison chart. Yeah, look at this. Okay, dude, if you go to Wikipedia, they actually have a comparison chart that shows you the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, and the Xbox One X. And if you look at
hmm
the power that this thing has, it's crazy, dude. Let me look at the CPU frequency. The original Xbox 1.75 gigahertz. This one 2.3. Um, the shaders, original Xbox 768. This one 2,560. So just even if you don't know what these things are, you see that they have more than And by the way, the teraflop things. This one has 6. The original Xbox has 1.31. So, dude, this
Mm.
thing's a beast. So, from a technical point of view, oh, absolutely, I think it's $500 is more than reasonable. But, dude, my thing is, I think this is such a weird console. Like I feel like Microsoft is selling this only to the hardcore Xbox community, and not because like you have PlayStation 4, which is selling so good. Like that's I think I would arguably say that is the best console of this generation in terms of sales, exclusives, and just everything that Sony is doing with that. And Microsoft is trying to step up their game. And right now, their options are you can either get an Xbox One S, 500 gigs for $250, or if you spend double that price, you can get an Xbox One X. I don't see the average Joe buying a $500 Xbox One X for more power. Um,
The,
you
well,
know what I
but the
mean?
problem is as well, just to chime in quickly, is if you don't have a 4K TV, it kind of like nullifies it a little bit buying it.
Yeah, and they what did they say at the conference? Remember, they're like, oh, if you don't like, it was optimized for 4K TV, but don't worry, if you have a 1080p TV, it still looks great. I'm like, dude, come on, that's you're pushing it there. Like, yeah, it'll look
Yeah.
great, but how great will it really look? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know
It,
about that.
the thing is though, right? So like 4K is becoming bigger. It's already been a thing. It's been there for PC. It's becoming big now for consoles and TV, and we're moving that. I mean, I picked up my iPhone 7 recently,
Right.
and now you can record 4K on it, video quality.
Oh, dude,
So
that's
it
awesome.
is becoming. That's what I mean. It's becoming bigger and bigger, and same with YouTube. YouTube is now streaming at 4K and everything else. It's slowly becoming what is the norm. We're leaping those like pixels and everything else. I think the reveal was great. They did it really fast. It was efficient. No teasing. It was just
Yeah,
straight there. Here we go.
they
I
opened
don't
with
like
it.
the name. Yeah, yeah. I don't like the name though. I think it's confusing for the market. Why is it Xbox One S, X? It's not Apple where you change letters and stuff. Numbers help quite a lot with when you tell a consumer. Remember the Wii U analogy we use quite a lot?
Yeah.
People didn't know if the Wii U was a new controller, if it was a new console. It was like, what is the Wii U? It sounds like an expansion to the Wii.
Right.
And same with the Xbox One X. People will probably just think it's just another to the common consumer. They might not see it as that unless they're reading into it. Then they'll be like, oh yeah, it's a new console. They could have called it something else. They could have called it Xbox X or something like that. Just like, along those lines where it changes the kind of like view of what it is. By the way, they've always had better like code names for their stuff than the actual names. Same with Project Natal as well. It was like, yeah, that's cool. And then the reveal Connect, and I was like, right.
Actually, in this situation, I actually disagree with you. I like the name of it because this isn't like. I find this such a weird console because everyone thinks this is like the successor to the Xbox One, and it's not. This is like a 0.5 update. This is Microsoft's version of what new 3DS was. Like when new 3DS came out, and they're like, it's stronger. It has a better processor. It has better this. It has now an analog stick we've added to it. Like but it plays 3DS games. Like it didn't like change that fact. It just played what was already available better, you know what I mean? And that's how I see the Xbox One X. It's kind of like it's like a better version, a stronger version of what PlayStation 4 Pro is. And so I think I'm like, okay, that's a good way to distinguish it. You don't want people to get confused and think, oh, this is a brand new console, because it's not. It's a very heavily upgraded version of what the Xbox One is. They're basically doing what iPhone is doing. You know what I mean? Where they're like, this is the same device, and it's compatible with everything that's came before. There's nothing really exclusive to it, but it plays it better, and it's part of the same family. So I'm cool with it. As cool as I was with PS4 Pro. I thought Pro was a great title, because you're like, oh, okay, I get what that is.
I have to disagree, though, because I think the PS4 was only a minor upgrade. The Pro is nowhere near what Scorpio is. Scorpio is like...
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I agree when they keep saying it's a monster, because it is a monster of a console with power and stuff like that. So with it, by definition, I think you just sell it a bit harder, because it does sound almost like a new console, but it has all that Xbox One goodness and features.
Right.
It just sounded a bit weird to me when they were selling, because it sounded like, do you want the Xbox One S, and that was like the minor upgrade, like the
that was their
the
Pro,
iPhone
right?
5. Yeah, it was like the iPhone 5C to the iPhone 5.
Right.
It was smaller, a bit more little specs and everything else, but it was just the tinkering. This is actually bigger. I feel like they would just sell it a bit more, but I'll regress that. I'll probably leave that for in a minute. I think it's a good idea, and 4K is picking up, so it could give Xbox a very good footing into that part of the industry to start off with.
Yeah.
Is this a threat to PlayStation? No. Sony has killed it completely this console cycle, and I think Microsoft is really playing catch-up game now, because it's kind of like looking a little bit kind of difficult for them to make any kind of headway now. They started off really poorly. They've really recovered well with Phil Spencer. They've introduced some great features. Everything else is looking a little bit more brighter, but at the same time, they're just so far behind now. It's kind of like, right, they're kind of playing their own game where they're kind of making up for sales and everything else, which is fair enough. But with the X, though, I like what they showed. It looked cool. I think the problem is, though, for me, as a normal consumer, as someone who doesn't have a ton of money with me as well, am I going to upgrade to it? Not necessarily.
Yeah, no, I have a kid.
For my job purposes. So that's what I mean, though. Look at the common consumer. They're like, yeah, it's 4K, it does this, that. But if you do not have a 4K TV, it's almost redundant. Have it, it will show. I think it will show on a 1080p TV. I agree with them. I think you'll see a difference.
Yeah.
But would you be willing to put £500 down to like $499 to go that extra little distance?
Yeah.
It just feels like it's one of those where it's more of the top end spec, kind of like products that's just not necessary yet. If we had 4K TVs everywhere, I'd be like, oh my god, this console, it looks unreal. I need to come buy it. But we're not at that stage yet. It's almost like, do you remember the 3D part? Where it's like, oh yeah, 3D is the new thing, and here's 3D TVs, and you need to get 3D glasses and 3D DVDs and stuff like that. Have you seen how it's kind of tamed down now?
Yeah, which is sad for me, because I bought a 3D TV. I still have it. I love it. Dude, I love 3D so much. But it died. It died out.
We are not having a 3D conversation, because
no.
something is that something I can pick my bone up with you on something else? So that is something we disagree on. We'll make a special one day of Resident Evil 4 3D TVs and everything else. It'll be delightful, and I'm just yelling at you. Um,
You mean that's our
but
argument? Resident Evil 4 and 3D TVs?
pretty much, we seem very different on this. And I'm just like, I get very angsty as
I
well when you like say
I'm
something.
I am so down for that. I really am.
Um, but no, I was kind of happy with the Xbox conference. I think it was too many exclusives. We'll just go a
Mhm.
bit more general now because we have talked about
Yeah.
the Xbox One X, and I think it's pretty good and everything else, and they showed the games off. But just generally, and not going for too long, I thought the conference was too long. I get you were selling the Xbox One X, but when you had 44, was it 40 plus games had exclusives or quote unquote
Console
exclusives in
launch. What was it? Console launch
yeah,
exclusive?
console launch. I was like, right, okay, I get it. You're selling it, and it's people. I remember arguing with someone. They're like, oh yeah, Xbox needs to show more games and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, but it's quality over quantity. I'm not saying some of
Yeah.
these games are terrible, but these games could have been shown on the pre E3 show, like Sony did with Until
Yeah.
Dawn's game, and like with other games that they're showing after E3 and stuff like that. Not everything needs to be in your E3 conference. They could have tamed that down a bit. They had stuff on the Xbox Daily Live and like other things. At the same time, there was so much misleading. We know what Microsoft is like with timed exclusives and stuff like that. Some of these are
Yeah.
core exclusives, some of these are just timed exclusives. So fair enough, we'll
It's
leave it at
like
that. But I was
Rise
kind
of
of
the Tomb Raider almost all over again.
that's what I mean. I
Yeah.
more in the sense that I was like, if it was going to be a focus on Xbox One X, they should have shown it and then shown all the really good games for it, and then started kind of like moving into other areas. Because they did announce some great things, especially with the backwards compatibility, and they are showing a lot of support for the support and love for the Xbox community. But
Yeah.
I
It
think
was
like they just tame it down a little bit.
It was, yeah, dude. It was a really mixed bag because they showed, like you said, like it should be more quality over quantity, and they showed so many games. And I remember thinking, like, oh, that looks cool. And then I remember when they showed State of Decay 2, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather get the Sony game. You know what I mean? I know it's
Days
a
Gone.
different, yeah, Days Gone. I know it's a different kind of game, but like it's that same kind of like dark and blah blah blah, zombies and stuff. And I'm getting tired of zombies to be
Mhm.
honest. I think it's overplayed, but Days Gone is so good looking. I'm like, oh no, I will follow that. Plus, I love the actor, Star Killer, man. That's Star Killer, playing the main character. And like here on Xbox's side, I didn't care about State of Decay. And there's a lot of games like the pirate game. Remember that pirate demo? That game looks cool, but man, it
Oh
just
yeah.
went on for so long. And I get it because think about it. A very rare Xbox One exclusive that no pun intended that is being I said a very rare it's being made by Rare and
Yeah.
like I get it, they're like, hey look, it's a company we own and it's you can only play this on Xbox One and it's optimized on Xbox One X, let's do a big demo for it. But man, that thing went on for so it needed to be 10 minutes shorter. It just kept going
Yeah.
and going and going for like 25 minutes. So like
And the
it was a mixed bag for me,
sorry,
man.
I was gonna say the humor chiseled out on that as well because it's funny. Do you remember? I was like, oh yeah, it's quite funny with like the thing that it's like it's dragging. I was like, right, okay, it's getting a bit too much.
Yeah.
Like, getting a little bit unbearable. No, I think they just went on for a little bit too long. I know
Yeah.
people want to see games. They really want to see the good stuff and everything else. I'm in the same boat. Don't worry. I always want to see like loads of games. They're like, show more games. You have to see our E3 chat. It's hilarious because I'm always like the one who's like calling out like ridiculous things or just like boring. But I was doing like quite a lot because I was seeing like indie games. I was like, okay, cool, but this can be on Xbox Daily Live. It does not need to be in the main conference
Yeah.
or sacrifice something else in its place.
Yeah.
But like it was just one of those where I was like, right, okay, cool. It was a pretty good conference, but at the same time, there was just so much taming that needs to be done for the future.